Alright, welcome back to Gamer Know-How. Today we're going to be talking about another game that has been scrapped, and this one is kind of a big deal. So, Crash Bandicoot 5 has been scrapped. This game was highly promising, early test gameplay seemed to be on point, but they just decided to cut it after it went into stage 2 of production. We'll read the article down below, but honestly my first thoughts on this, and everyone should be agreement on this, they really just dropped the ball on this one. Like, Crash Bandicoot 4 was okay. Obviously, it wasn't as good as the others, but I mean, like, it wasn't bad. And honestly, the fact that we got a teaser for Spyro to be in this one was actually kind of cool. And I was actually kind of hoping that this would come out because they were promising that you could play it as either Crash or Spyro, which was going to be pretty sick. And I think this was going to be a good game, but like all good things in this world, it never comes to fruition. So the sequel has been squashed. A new report from Toys for Bob claimed that Crash Bandicoot 5 was cancelled in favor of live stream online games. The report comes as gaming historian Lehman Robinson revealed Crash Bandicoot game would have been a single-player 3D platform and would be a direct sequel to Crash Bandicoot 4. So yeah, this is going to be a direct sequel to Crash Bandicoot 4. Honestly, I was not really worried about the story. Honestly, the story for Crash Bandicoot 4 was not terrible, but it needed some work. This game was a little bit going to probably be a sequel to a little bit of an awkward version of Crash Bandicoot, but the biggest draw for me is that there is going to be Spyro in this game. So, in early signs of success, Robertson's video features concept art, potential story ideas for the Crash sequel, including a Spyro team-up. Crash and Spyro were intended to be two playable characters. However, when Crash 5 was in very early days of development, it was cancelled by publisher Activision in favor of live service multiplayer games. So yeah, another single-player 3D platformer game just dies again. So it looks like we are seeing the downfall of single-player platform games, or single-player games in basically every single-player game. I mean, when was the last single-player game we got? I mean, Stalker 2, but that was an indie game. That wasn't a AA game. I guess Crash Bandicoot 4 was your last Activision single-player game. And I mean, before that, maybe Ratchet and Clank. But I mean, it's not really looking good for single-player games. All the game companies seem to see multiplayer as the way to go. So I'm kind of sad about this because single-player games, especially platformers, are really fun because it allows you to just play in like you have like 3 hours to waste and you don't really have anybody. You're kind of in a depressive cycle. You really don't want to talk to anybody. You just want to be alone. And you just load up a single-player game and play it all the way through. And I think that's what single-player games are good for. It's for when you want to be alone, you just want to be in your own thoughts, and you just want to play a game. That's what single-player games are for, and honestly, it feels like they're in short supply nowadays. Everything's got to be multiplayer, online games, live service, open world, open concept games, and even the platformer games are now multiplayer. Like, I like Chain Together, but I mean, it would be great to have a single-player platform that isn't a Mario game, because that seems to be the only game series that is a single-player game at this point, is the Mario series. But yeah, sales report, allegedly Activision considered Crash Bandicoot 4's sales to be underwhelming. After that, team members were moved on to work on other titles, including Crash Team Rumble, which was released last year. This particular game failed to ignite much interest, and in March it was announced no further content would be released. So yeah, Crash Team Rumble, a multiplayer game. They went to work on that instead of this game. So it's kind of telling you the early signs of failure. Apparently Activision wanted more from Crash 4's sales. They didn't get it, and they just decided, well, if people didn't really like Crash 4, why should we make Crash 5? So they decided to scrap Crash 5 and move everybody to Crash Team Rumble, a multiplayer Crash Bandicoot game. So this just kind of confirms it. They do not see the interest in making single-player Crash games anymore. So I mean, this just sucks. It just shows that single player games are kind of on the downturn, and they're just all going to multiplayer online games. So pretty much your basic games that you used to play when you didn't want to talk to anybody and you just wanted to be alone. Yeah, well, the only games you can really play are multiplayer games that have a single player option, like Minecraft. You can play Helldivers by yourself. I wouldn't do that because you'd probably die very quickly, but you can try. You can attempt it at least. You can play Lethal Company by yourself, I guess. Any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games you could play by yourself. I mean, there's a lot of games you can play by yourself that are also multiplayer, but I mean, it's not as fun. And that's the point. They're meant to be multiplayer, and if they're meant to be multiplayer, then they're geared towards having that enjoyment. So if you play it single player, you're not really going to get any enjoyment out of it. This is just all to say, screw Activision. Activision's already basically bought by Microsoft, so of course they're going to get worse over time because Microsoft makes everything worse over time. But they're kind of falling off a cliff on this one. They're kind of saying, oh, we're not going to be doing any more single player games. We're all doing multiplayer online service games because frick all of you people who are just want to play games by yourself for a little. So that's really all I got to say for this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you really like it. Comment down below your thoughts, and have a great day. Toodaloo.